As you can probably guess, she did not look like this to start off for sure. Ivana Knoll, former Miss Croatia, I'm sure you've seen her in the World Cup at some point, getting a lot of attention inevitably in the stands. I'm going to break down, in my professional opinion, all the cosmetic work that I think she's had done, because there's been quite a bit, as you can tell. I'm going to go through exactly how much she probably spent for it as well. Let's get straight into it. I'm going to start at the top and work my way down. I'm going to start at the very top with the eyebrow. Look at the shape difference. It's quite flat there. Let's zoom into the recent picture. And there's clearly a peak in the modern version right there, which wasn't there to start with. It's gone from a roughly masculine to a roughly feminine looking eyebrow. Cheapest, quickest, easiest way is with Botox brow lift. A couple $100s, but the problem is it wears off every few months. If you're behind the camera, you're not going to want to keep doing things every few months. Same with a thread lift, a brow thread lift. A thread goes under the skin, suspends the eyebrow higher up using connective tissue on the scalp. That's going to be maybe $1,000 to $2,000 depending on where you go. But again, you can't control the swelling, the symmetry, or how long it's going to last. The thread, as soon as it's in the skin, it's going to dissolve. I think what's happened here is a surgical intervention, a surgical forehead lift, or a surgical brow lift. One of these procedures might be between $5,000 and $10,000 depending on who you're seeing and which country you're in. Moving on down from that, the eyes have had a massive change. Look at the shape of them, okay? The angles of the outer corner and the inner corner are much bigger than compared to now. They're much more acute angle, they're smaller angles. That, I think, is something called a surgical canthoplasty. This is something where you use basically surgery to change the shape. You kind of affect the skin around the eye to change the shape of the eye itself. Depending on where she's gone and who she's seen, that's probably going to be between $4,000 and $12,000. It's a big range again. It's a very complex procedure that can go horribly wrong, so don't go cheap if you're going to get something like this. After that, the nose, clearly a big change. Have a look at the shape of the tip. It's quite round. It's a little bit bigger than we are now. And also take a look at the bridge shape. Look at how there's a slight curve there in the nose tip. Whereas compare that to a picture at the World Cup, arrow straight nose, very, very cute tip as well. Surgical nose job for sure. Depending on, again, who she's seen. If you go to Turkey, you might spend as little as, say, $2,000. Don't do that. Or if you're gonna go to an experienced surgeon who can really look after you, might pay up to $10,000. Massive, massive range again. So after that, I think the lips have 100% changed too, as you can probably tell. Look at the size of the top lip compared to the bottom. Ratio might be sort of 1 to 2, 2.5 in the before picture, versus, let's say, in the current picture, it might be 1 to 1 or a 50-50 lip. I think that's probably a couple cc's or a couple mils of filler over probably a couple of years as well. I think that might have been, let's say, $1,000 total, roughly, and that's going to stay there. You don't have to keep doing lip filler again and again and again. That will last for several years now. And even between the lips, I'm going to get my dentist hat on for a second, I think there's been changes there too. In the before picture, have a look at the pointy tooth, the canine, which we all have. It's slightly outwards, and the tooth just in front of it, the lateral incisor, is very slightly inwards as well. Whereas if you compare that to pitch side at the World Cup, everything is so straight. I think braces have been done, whether that's with wires or clear aligners like Spark, SureSmile, Invisalign, things like that, I don't know. But she's probably got retainers to keep her teeth still for the rest of her life as well. And directly under the lip, look at the flatness of the chin that we have in the before picture. I'll draw it here, right there. And compare that to the after picture, there's no flatness whatsoever. And even look at the blending in the before picture of the face and the neck. That region there is almost kind of a smooth transition, whereas in the after picture, look at the difference. There's such a sharp change between neck and face right there. So I think definitely jaw fillers and chin fillers have been done. So filler all along the jawline. I think filler's been placed probably in the chin right here. I think in the angle of the jaw to create some definition at the back as well. Some there on the other side. And also along the body of the jaw, probably all along here and here. You're probably looking at, let's say, 3 to 6 cc's or 3 to 6 mils total. That might be $1,000 to $2,000, again, depending on who she's seen. And that, I would say, is the bulk of the things that she's had on the face. But clearly, on the body, I think there's been some big changes too. Let's have a look at this one. She's gone from probably like a C cup to, let's say, an E or a double E cup, roughly speaking. That's going to be probably a couple hundred cc's per implant. You might be looking at, let's say, on the cheap end, $4,000, on the top end, maybe $10,000. Again, another big range. But another interesting thing has happened. Look at the before picture here. You can see some definition of the ribcage, of the skeleton. Compare that to here, there's nothing. I think her body fat percentage over the years has increased. Not that she's fat or big or anything, she's clearly slim, she's in good shape. However, think about it. When someone becomes bigger and fatter, their facial features do not become more defined, they become less defined. When someone goes from really quite clinically obese to really well built and muscular, then their face, their jawline becomes much more obvious. Her body fat percentage has increased, but her facial features have at best stayed the same in definition or increased. So that's clearly unnatural, but it's been done very, very well. She's had some really good work done. I think on the top end, she might have spent maybe around $50,000. On the bottom end, it might be as low as say $20,000. I'm sure she probably got quite a few things done at the same time, so she will have gotten some sort of discount or deal too. If you want to see how some of these procedures are done, let's say lip filler as an example, there's so many different techniques for so many different types of lips. If you want to see myself use just one of these techniques on one of my patients, then you can click right here.